RP X, RP Peep, RP Mac. You ain't having no relax. This shit got me tearing up.
What's good, y'all? I'm Jared today. I'm about to check out 10 awesome wrestlers WWE totally slept on. One person in particular come to mind. Several names come to mind, but one person is Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy is like one of the most underrated wrestlers that ever stepped foot in WWE. As far as singles wrestling, he was always stuck in the mid card. He never made it past the mid card. But when he went to TNA, he became world champion. He had different gimmicks. He can prove that he can be good on the mic and as well as in the ring. And just like pretty much 100% dedicated to the business, to the character, bringing the character to life. Went to a whole other company, made a super well over character in the broken Matt Hardy character, in the broken Matt Hardy character, and kind of stepped out of Chef's shadow for a minute. And other wrestlers such as Shelton Benjamin, John Morrison when he was in WWE doing his first run, and list goes on and on and on, man. So let's check out 10 awesome wrestlers WWE slept on.
The decades are littered with fantastic athletes who WWE never pulled the trigger on, whether due to Vince McMahon's noted disdain for short wrestlers or a stubborn desire to commit to the script rather than what the crowd actually wants.
They do that a lot.
What the bloody hell happened to Titus Worldwide? Whatever the circumstances, WWE did totally wrong by these 10 terrific superstars who had all the potential in the world to be major money makers for the company, only given a fighting chance.
Yep.
With that in mind, I'm Adam Wilborn from What Culture.
The other guy named
10 awesome wrestlers WWE totally
they just
slept
released
on.
him for NXT.
Number 10. Neville
should have been
called up to the main roster
a main
on
event
huge
star.
tidal wave of fan support, beloved for his mind-blowing athleticism and physical intensity. Less so for his character, but he quickly faded into the periphery after a promising debut until he was finally granted a potentially career-saving heel turn, and one which went over spectacularly with fans. Sadly, the heel program was short-lived, and Neville was soon locked into a tedious feud with Enzo Amore, during which he understandably took his fall and went home. Worse still, rather than trying to come to terms with a clearly frustrated Neville, WWE simply let him sit at home for the better part of a year before finally letting him go.
This is crazy.
Since leaving WWE, Neville, aka Pac, hasn't exactly wanted for work, currently proving his stock in AEW. He could return to WWE someday, but honestly, does he really need them? Number 9, Chris Masters. There are few wrestlers
Super
WWE
overlooked.
has ever
He slimmed down to everything. They still released him.
Chris Masters, a chiseled from granite physical specimen who debuted with the company at the mere age of 22 and on paper seemed custom built for Vince McMahon's taste. Plus, who doesn't like the Master Lock Challenge? In November 2007, Masters was released following his second violation of WWE's wellness policy, before eventually making a return to WWE in mid-2009. Masters was clean and still looked fantastic despite his leaner physique. Yet he was quickly pushed into a comic relief face role to which he wasn't at all suited. After being drafted to Raw in 2011, he didn't have a single televised Raw match for 4 months and was released soon thereafter. At 36 years of age, time is still on his side for a third run, but is it easy to believe they'd actually use him appropriately this time? Number 8, Taz. Few wrestlers made their WWE debut with as much hype as Taz, whose first match was as a surprise opponent against Kurt Angle at the Royal Rumble 2000, choking out the previously undefeated Olympian. With his unique look, awesome theme music, great mic skills, and wealth of tough guy cred from his ECW days, Taz had all the tools to be a major WWE star. Yet, within months of his debut, he was getting smashed in the head with a jar of sodding Skittles by Hardcore Holly at WrestleMania 2000.
Damn.
Despite being renowned as the human suplex machine, Vince didn't find his stature befitting of a top-level guy. even if he did later claim to regret making
Taz had a good
losers
career
no
over
match against
doing commentary.
and he was ECW champion at the time.
Definitely one of my favorite
Still,
announcers.
if Vince wasn't so hung up on his height, Taz could have had a rocket strapped to him and enjoyed an absolutely killer run in early 2000s. Number 7, Mohammed Hassan. Hassan debuted in 2004 as an Arab American superstar.
I remember him.
Frustrated with
His
the
character
racism
didn't
and
work.
stereotypes of a post 9/11 world.
Yeah.
And predictably, the crowds typically glossed over his nuanced arguments in favour of proudly racist booing. Hassan built up a massive head of steam within mere months of his debut, entering into a feud with The Undertaker in 2005, leading to the infamous moment where Hassan's ski mask wearing accomplices beat Taker down around the time the 7/7 bombings took place. Amid increasing pressure from network UPN and the mass media, Hassan was quickly withdrawn from TV and destroyed by The Undertaker at the Great American Bash. Hassan was sent back
Time
to
it kinda messed him up.
to be repackaged and was released a few months later, after which he announced his retirement from in-ring action at the mere age of 23. Hassan had all the gifts to be a major star,
I didn't know he
and
retired.
that he was robbed of this still irks many fans almost 15 years later. Number 6,
Marcus Corbin. I remember him.
Marcus Corbin was better known by his real name, Monty Brown, a moniker he went by during his memorable TNA run. Brown was an all-American football linebacker with a stunning physique and impressive combination of power and speed, which, added to his eccentric mic skills, should have made him a force to be reckoned with in WWE. But after signing with WWE in 2006, Brown was left to flounder in the rebooted ECW brand with a terrible name in an awful stable. The New Breed. Oh God, remember that weird vampire bloke? Brown's WWE career was ultimately cut short by tragedy, as less than 6 months after making his TV debut, his sister passed away, and he took several months off to look after her children.
Damn.
Brown never returned to WWE and was released a few months later, after which he retired from active competition.
Damn, man, I
Number
didn't know that.
5, Dean Malenko. If you're gonna unironically name yourself the man of 1,000 holds, better be able to back it up. Dean Malenko definitely could. And there's
One
a
of the
strong
best
argument
technical
to be made
wrestlers
that he's
ever.
one of the finest technical wrestlers of all time. Ultimately, his career highlight will forever be his scintillating WCW feud with Chris Jericho. But Malenko certainly arrived in WWE on a wave of hype, jumping ship from WCW in 2000 with his pals Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, and Perry Saturn as part of the Radicals. While his teammates slid into mid and upper card programs, Malenko was unfortunately stranded in WWE's mediocre light heavyweight division. Before long, he was shoehorned into a terrible James Bond spoof gimmick, which couldn't have been less fitting if I'd been given it. By mid-2001, Malenko decided to enter semi-retirement and work with WWE as a road agent, a role he maintained until being released recently. Malenko quickly landed on his feet, though, joining AEW as a senior producer years later. Number 4, Evan Bourne. Evan Bourne made his WWE debut in 2008 at the mere
Totally
age
underrated.
of 25 as part of the new ECW brand, and quickly picked up a reputation for his incredible athleticism, best exemplified by his all-timer shooting star press.
Yes,
Bourne
sir.
was traded to Raw in 2009, and despite considerable fan enthusiasm for his in-ring work, and that time he took a sick RKO from Randy Orton, he barely made a dent, aside from a vaguely memorable WWE Tag Team title run with Kofi Kingston in 2011. WWE released him in the summer of 2014, and Bourne has since worked extensively with the likes of Ring of Honor, Evolve, New Japan, Impact Wrestling, and of course, WCPW. Oh, God, I missed that. At 36 years of age, he's not beyond a return, and given that WWE recently allowed him to use the Evan Bourne name whilst wrestling for Evolve, it actually doesn't seem outside the realms of possibility. So you're telling me there's a chance. Number 3, Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett was another success story in the making that WWE shot down through their own desire to control the narrative rather than adapt plans to the crowd's organic response. After a strong run in NXT, Barrett joined Raw in 2010 as the leader of the Nexus, and between his distinctive mic work and strong in-ring abilities, seemed primed for future WWE main eventer status. After the Nexus fizzled out, thanks to that John Cena, and follow-up faction The Core proved hilariously short-lived, Barrett lingered on the mid-card until he was repackaged as the wildly popular Bad News Barrett in 2013. The gimmick caught on immediately with fans, but WWE ordered him to stop using the "I'm afraid I've got some bad news" catchphrase, as he was being cheered too much, and WWE wanted Barrett to be a heel. Yeah, none of this getting over the fans' bollocks, eh? As a result, Bad News Barrett died a premature death, and Barrett was reinvented yet again as King Barrett after winning the 2015 King of the Ring tournament. Because that always works. But in mid-2016, Barrett was released from his contract early, disappointed that WWE had given up on the Bad News Barrett gimmick so hurriedly. Barrett has since made sporadic appearances at various indies and remains one of the most infuriating examples of WWE's nonsense approach to character work and storybooking. Plus, it's my best friend. Number 2, Cody Rhodes. Rhodes made his Raw debut in July 2007 and bounced around on the mid-card until joining
early days in WWE
the next year alongside Randy Orton and Ted DiBiase Jr. After the legacy fizzled out in early 2011, he went through a number of gimmicks of, let's be honest, varying quality, including dashing Cody Rhodes, teaming with Damian Sandow as Rhodes Scholars with a mustache I can only dream of, and of course, Stardust. Rhodes was granted his release in 2016 and toured the indies, and had a killer run in New Japan before launching AEW at the start of 2019. Needless to say, AEW is currently going from strength to strength, so more than any active competitor on this list, the chances of him ever returning to WWE are slim at best. Thank God. Number 1, Sean O'Haire. There's surely no sadder case of wasted potential than the late Sean O'Haire. He made a name for himself as a member of WCW's Natural Born Thrillers, and when WWE acquired WCW, they also picked up his contract. O'Haire made his WWE Tag Team debut with Chuck Palumbo in mid-2001, but mere months later was sent to OVW for fine-tuning, which severely hobbled his 2002 momentum. But 2003 showed some promise as O'Haire was repackaged with a Devil's Advocate-inspired gimmick, accompanied by a brilliantly memorable series of promos, only for it to be abandoned several months later, reportedly because O'Haire couldn't sell the gimmick to a live audience. O'Haire had a motorcycle accident a few months later and was released in April 2004. Things sadly culminated in O'Haire's 2014 suicide. He suffered with depression and had numerous stints in WWE-sponsored rehab. Though O'Haire's mic skills weren't the best live and he clearly had his personal demons, he also had one hell of a great look and was uncommonly athletic for a man of his size. Sean O'Haire deserved so much better. And that's our list. Did we miss any out? Let us know in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts too. Plus, you can check out more recent videos here. Thanks for watching. I've been Adam from What Culture, and I'll see you soon.
Alright, y'all. Great video. Let me know what y'all thought of the video, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.